All right. And there. We're live. Hey. You need to look here. Hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Oh. Remember? Into the microphone.
Hi guys.
Welcome, everyone, to the first Q&A stream with Axie Infinity. My name is Aleksander, one of the co-founders.
You're Aleksander?
Yeah, and this is, I guess, Trung, who will be answering the questions today. So I think, without saying too much else, we'll just get right into it. We have a lot of questions, really many detailed questions. So I know that Trung has prepared some answers, so he can just start right off.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can just go directly to the first questions. It's like heads up. It's like a heads up actually. So the first question is a player want to know everything about land, items, and staking options. I think this question is too broad. So I guess we will address it somehow when we answer all the following questions later.
Wait, just to say something else, if there is someone else who's having issues with the microphone, if you can hear it, just give us some feedback in the chat immediately, and we'll rectify that. And I also forgot to say that G-Host is here too. You want to go to say hi?
What's up, guys? Amazing job with the questions. They look super good. I think it really shows like how amazing our community is, and yeah, you guys like push us to really think everything through. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here with you guys tonight, and yeah, we're amazing job with the questions.
I could say these questions are very helpful because one aspect of product development is that we want to know about what people think and what people expect out of the products. So it's definitely like a very important aspect for us to continue the product development in the future, and for us to know how to prioritize different features. So yeah, thank you guys for that. We hope today we will have enough time to go through all the questions. I mean, yeah, it's still an optimistic plan, but we'll try.
Yeah, I think there are almost 50 questions. So yeah. All right, enjoy.
Not sure how to make this a little bit more
Shall I ask the questions maybe?
Yeah.
All right, so then we'll do it like this. So the first question will be, will the patterns on Axies ever mean something for their stats, or are they purely a cosmetic feature? Will each pattern look different as they level up?
So actually, we thought about that. And of course, I think we share the same feeling with you guys, is that we want to make all body patterns less subtle. We really want to make them have some effects within the game, especially in battles. But also at the same time, we think it could complicate the game even more. Like for you guys, you guys already have some experience battling. I think that would not be a problem. But for completely new players, I think sometimes that could be too much information for them to digest at the beginning when they get to know the game. So yeah, even though we hope that we can do something here, but right now I can only say that they remain as cosmetic features. Maybe in the future, we would figure out a way to do something with them, but I would accept as what they are right now.
All right, yeah. The next one, can you give some insight or examples of what benefits eyes and ears may have on Axies? So, as we all know, they're passive right now.
So yeah, a little bit about all the questions. Actually, we organized them a little bit. Right now, we are going through all the Axie related questions, or specifically Axie gameplay. Back to the questions about eyes and ears of the Axies. So we have a story like this. At the beginning, when I and Masamune designed all the body parts of Axie, actually we had a hard time figuring out how to design all the eyes and ears, because to be honest, for other for other body parts, they are easier to design. But for eyes and ears, actually we don't have like many concepts or ideas to design them. So that's why like you guys might notice that in the last two body part release, so Origin and Mia, actually there are less eye and ears than other body parts. I think the answer here is pretty similar to body buttons. We really want to do like something with them, but the situation here is a little bit different. I can confirm that like we're going to have some effects for eyes and ears in the future. Yeah, that would be reviewed in the future.
All right, I think that's good for everyone who has a mystic ear or eye. Should be happy, among myself actually. So, on to the next one. As to
I want to add a little bit more here that so we just upgrade the visual of some mystic, like almost all mystics. Some are not upgraded yet, but eventually we will eventually upgrade all of them. Actually, we run out of ideas for some of the mystic parts, but hopefully in the future we can upgrade all of them.
nice. So Mystic season still happening, and probably even more when this gets out. For the next one, as you guys heard, we are on the gameplay related questions right now.
Axie gameplay.
Yeah, Axie gameplay related. And Rail says, can we take a second to appreciate the collection of shorts that Jihos has? I'm sure soon. small diversion there. All right, on to the real question. Will level 1 parts receive any rebalancing or changes along with the live battle launch, or are they pretty much going to be what they are now?
From my personal perspective, I think the current body parts are not completely balanced. And in order to release the new live battle mode, we have to tweak them, of course. And also in the future, even when we already released the live battle mode, I think we need to continue tweaking and balancing them. Depends on what we observe from how people play with the Axies, with the parts. I think it's just a normal act of balancing in game design. Of course, we don't want to change much how people perceive those body parts. We don't want people to feel that suddenly their favorite body parts could get nerfed down to the earth. So of course there's some principles when we balance those parts. Of course we want to keep the archetype of those parts the same even when we rework them. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
For the questions, in short, the answer is yes. We will rebalance all the body parts later when we want to release new other modes in the game. So
yeah, I think probably the most important thing is that if you have a specific body part, then it will probably stay around the same strength, not become super bad all of a sudden. I think everyone can be sure of that. So on to the next question. I should also say that I'll be reaching out and saying hi to the chat, in between questions, if there is anything. Right now there's a few new viewers, so welcome to you all. Next question, will exp be very important? Some have 30k exp, does that mean that they have too much, or will you always be able to spend it on things other than level 2 parts? So right now you can spend XP on breeding, but what does the future hold for EXP?
So for the first part of the questions, whether XP important, I think XP just a mechanism to measure the time and effort people put into playing the game. So yeah, definitely XP is important, but also at the same time there's a lot of other ways for people to spend their capture form of time and effort within the game. It's not only in like upgrading polypaths. I think like there will be more like kind of activities for people to spend their XP on. Like in the future, it might not be in the form of XP, but might be like might be a different unit. But yeah, I can say that like your time and effort within the game, like eventually, not eventually, I mean later, there will be more applications for it. So I think one of the reasons we are seeing this question is that like maybe some players like are worrying that they actually have too much XP, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think like that's the thing you guys should worry about. 30k, like I don't think it's like too much.
All right, good news for all XP hoarders out there who's been battling for ages. Obviously, it's also good to breed, spend XP on that, so you get new Axies. But yeah, keeping some could be safe for the future as well. Next question: are there any plans to introduce new Axie patterns or body shapes beyond Yak, and will they have utility in the future beyond aesthetics? For example, like can yaks carry more loot because they're bigger, have longer hair, that kind of stuff, man. Now we're getting really into it.
So genetics wise, because like I was really into like all the genetics features in games, in different games actually. Genetics wise, Axie's body shapes are represented by the same gene slot as Axie body buttons. So yeah, Axie also a form of body buttons, but we are calling it body shapes just to differentiate different kind of features, characteristic of the Axies. Actually, like when we design the land gameplay, it's not 100% like completed at the beginning, of course, but like Masamune really enjoyed the idea of putting different effects to different like body parts. I have a different opinions on that. Like it could be too complicated. But also at the same time, I think you guys like already noticed that there's some land items affect different like kind of body parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could say like high chance that like we will make them like a little bit different in a different scenario. I think it's a legit like needs.
All right, so the answer is like coming, could come, but not 100% clear. And I guess also kind of related to this question is like, will Axies be able to equip gear? And will that maybe even affect like their body shape if they're bigger, more gear, that kind of thing? It's very detailed, of course.
This is an interesting questions. Actually, right now the room for it, like the room for allowing Axies having gear, is very limited. There's just like limited options to put like gear on Axies. You cannot have so many. Maybe you have like backpacks. Maybe you have, I don't know. I mean, there's not so many options to put gears on Axie, but there's an interesting point that like we thought about that. We think like that is an interesting idea, and we even figure out that like in order to have gear on Axie, there's still some needed steps before that. There's still some change we have to implement before that in order to have gear on Axie. So yeah, it's a master plan. You guys would know.
Yeah. For sure, Rails. It's definitely inspired by some of the Axies that have backpacks. So I think like yeah, it's a part of the future for Axie, but not coming anytime soon. I mean, we have to take it like step by step. Chaz is in the chat as well. Shout out. He wants the big yak invasion for 2020 maybe. So we have another question. What are the plans for secret class Axies? will they have an inherent advantage over normal Axies? And if so, will this exist in live battles, land gameplay, or PvE? Please explain.
I think one of the core principles in designing games is that we don't want something to be like OP compared to others. That also includes different Axie classes, and it also includes secret class. Actually, they are not that secret. I have to admit that like we released them a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that time we really want people to have some purpose in breeding, not just for finding your perfect Axies. It's also for like I don't know, like it's like a goal for people to chase for. So yeah, we released them a little bit too soon. In battles, for example, I think secret class. It's not that I think, but I mean we went through that thought process and just use something in development right now. And I can confirm a little bit. I think secret class shouldn't have like major advantage over all kind of like normal classes, but they should have some kind of like unconventional elements in gameplay. Maybe the gameplay style would be a little bit different. Maybe they would have some kind of like they would have something different from normal class, but not that too different. I mean, the core principle is that they should not be OP compared to normal class. So they should have some kind of like unconventional. They should have some kind of like surprise elements. But yeah, that's all we can say right now.
All right. That's everything for game-related questions. I'm sure if we have some new, we'll kind of get to that. A lot of people have been asking economy-related questions, and that's probably, I mean, for a blockchain game is just one thing. Economy is, without a doubt, super important as well. So yeah, if we can go up a little bit to the questions. So
I believe
many.
we have some more Axie gameplay questions down, but maybe we
can
them for later.
We can take that a little bit later. I think the ones we have up here are probably the most important. So, all right. So wait, if you go up a little bit, Axie gameplay. I'm just gonna control here. All right. So, how will breeding potions be distributed, and when does this begin?
It will be announced really soon, so I think I would just skip these questions because I mean there's no point revealing them right now, right? If they would be announced soon.
Yeah, well, in short, very, very, very soon. That's it. When?
Like tomorrow? No.
No.
That's too soon.
I don't know. You guys just have to keep your eyes peeled on that one. So the next one: how important is the Axie sync or branching? What will be the solution for burning Axies that have served their full purpose? That's brutal. What happens?
From my point of view, actually, Axie sync is very important because you can see that in the real nature, like animals will just die after a certain amount of time. But in the Axie world, we don't have that mechanism. So in order to maintain a healthy population, there would be a need to like sync Axies, to retire Axies, right? So I could say Axie sync is very important in terms of maintaining a healthy economics. But for branching, I mean, the initial idea for branching is to fix like bad Axies, like to sometimes when you have a really, I would not say bad Axies, but Axies with like not a good composition of body parts, you just want to like maybe fix them a little bit, maybe because like they have a really good aesthetics. So that's the original idea, to fix like Axies.
You mean with branching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are not too sure about that because there's so many other options to do the same things, like to serve the same purpose. There's so many other there's so many alternatives. So we are not 100% sure about branching. It
But-
might be reworked a little bit.
Yeah, but the general feeling is that, like, if an Axie is like bad, there needs to be some kind of utility to it. So no Axie should be completely useless, whether you want to either branch it into something better or tweak it, as you said, or like retire it and get something else.
So for what we already have, actually, like Axie is not just one game, right? The battle is not just one game. Right now we have Edo battles. Like eventually we will have live battles, and also we already know a little bit about land gameplay. So like Axie, which are not good in battles, might be performed like really, really well in land gameplay. We don't know that for sure. So
Yeah.
I think like it's best to have different purpose for different Axies.
And also, yeah, I guess the community can also make Axies, like if they make a mini game or something where a specific archetype of bad Axie is really good, that could also impact them.
That's also like the power of the community, and also technically at the same time, like let's say if like let's imagine if you have syncing, if you have Axie sync, like if the amount of time you have to wait until until your Axies can breed, and also the amount of time you have to wait to see an Axie like become an adult Axie, like if it's short enough, then like actually you can play around with the breeding cycle instead of like going through branching. So that's also one way to see it, just like to make it more clear on the theory about different alternatives of branching. So branching is not mandatory. Right now we are still playing with that idea a little bit more. So.
Yeah, I think also Chief or Streammate TV touched on this in the chat. I mean there will be more mini games, and especially as we also like the core team start supporting these developers who make mini games and stuff in the universe. It might be possible to reward like bad Axies that not come directly from us, but are kind of abstracted. So yeah, like to show you some Axies get different bonuses. And hi to Snurf Pond in the chat. Triton is here now too. Super Twitch with some strange question. Let's see what else. All right, moving along to the next one. Unless we have something else, that seems fine.
Yeah, I'm going through the chat here to see if you guys have any questions you guys want to sneak in. Let's see.
Yeah, just remember to speak a little bit into the mic. I think there we go. There we go. Confident versus Mint. We have also Super Crypto Bro in here in the chat. Captain Cruz. This is an interesting question though. I tried to breed Axies with different skins like Curly, but I can't find any information. I think there is information available coming from the community, and we also occasionally release some stuff. I think
Actually,
we had a blog post about it. Yeah.
We even have maybe a blog post, maybe like a Discord like announcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that like we should do better. Like all the needed information should be arranged, should be organized really like nicely within the official like site or wiki, something like that.
Yeah, and also Dap.com is here. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I'm not sure if this is Kyle, but anyway, next question is about the Axie, the roadmap and future plans. And we have like a basket of questions eventually. So will there be a Christmas event this year?
Okay, yes. So there are two questions actually about the Christmas events. I would have no comment on that.
Okay, so Trung is saving the comments about the Christmas events for now. Maybe we come back to this a little bit later.
I would have no comment.
No comment. Okay.
Yeah, completely no comment.
No comment. We'll see what happens. So how will when it comes to passive gameplay, a lot of people are wondering about this because they have several thousands of Axies. So how will Axies gain XP passively once auto battles have been retired or gone, disappeared?
So actually we have like several questions with the same like meanings.
Yeah.
So a lot of people asking about like passive gameplay, some sort of like automatic gameplay, because like we all know that like there's some people with a lot of axes, with a lot of land. So of course we thought about that. So let's go through our thought process a little bit and just address all the related questions at once. So
yeah, I guess I can ask them first before you start. So, like, this is a basket of a lot of different questions, which is related to, like, if you have several thousand axes, if you have a lot of land, how will that impact you? So, how is active passive gameplay going to be balanced? And here it says, I would like more information about land. What resources can we expect from Savannah, Forest, Arctic, Mystic, and Genesis? And what are the Luna drop rates? How?
Just a part of that question is like is related to passive gameplay.
Yeah, but I mean, all right.
So we'll just go through our thought process a little bit. So just by using common sense, common product set, whatever it is, like maybe there's some teams out there don't have it, but just by using common sense, we can all agree that like doing things manually when you have a lot of game assets, like, it's not a solution. It's just horrible. It's impossible. So of course we have to support that kind of like gameplay in some sense. Yeah, that's a sure thing. I mean, we would be crazy not doing that. However, regarding the reward, it could be a little bit different. How different? For example, like I think if you have a manageable amount of game access, it makes sense to have the reward proportional to the amount of assets you have. For example, if you have like 3 axes, normally you could gain like 3 times rewards, like people who have like just 1 axis, right? It makes sense. But let's say if you have like 2,000 axes, could it be like possible for you to gain like 2,000 times the amount of reward compared to one have just like 1 axis?
I mean that.
So we went to that point, and our answer for that question is that like it's actually not dependent on the amount of axis, or not dependent on the amount of access of game access you have, not dependent on the amount of land you have. It dependent on the impact you can make to the game, like positive impact you can make to the game. Let's say even if you have like 10,000 axes, if you can make like 100,000 times the impact compared to like a person with just 1 axis, you should receive like 100,000 times the reward, not just 10,000 times. So that's our like thought process, and also like our conclusion on that matter. Of course, like the detailed answer, like the detailed example would be something like, let's say if you have a lot of axes, sometimes like there would be like a game mechanics to support you with that many axes. Sometimes you have to delegate like the axes to someone else to manage for you. Sometimes you have to host like some kind of axis society, so people can like.
You mean like a guild?
Like
general,
something like that, so people can like work on, like can support you, like can do things on behalf of you. So that's some of our thoughts, some of our plans.
I think that also ties really good into like other plans that we have around like how big companies or big like how they want to take a part in the universe, right? Because in crypto there are so many big stakeholders that can suddenly buy a lot of assets and have huge like stakes in the game, and it wouldn't really be fair if they can just buy up every asset and then claim all the rewards without doing any work or without giving anything back to the people who are actually playing the game. So it makes sense that they would be like have to delegate some of the workload to the people who are actually playing.
I think it's just unfair, like to let people like just not work at all. and receive like a lot of rewards, right? It's unfair. But I also agree that like the work quality from different like people will be different.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes like some people can just like work a little bit, but the impact would be huge. So yeah, that would be different compared to other people.
Yeah, I think Brookhock is asking if you can explain like more specifically, not in the abstract. I think that's a little bit hard right now because the question is kind of related to something that's happening in the future. So it's hard to be super specific when things can change. But that's like that more on the higher level side of things that we want people to be able to delegate some of the workload that they have. So I know we have a lot of big Axie holders too.
I think there's some reasons we don't want to go into like details, like super details things, because because like they are in the future, we don't want to like talk much about like a future, because like they could be changed, like in the game design process, they could be changed. The second thing is that like maybe we have something in our pocket right now, and we don't want to reveal much about that.
Yeah, it could also impact the economy like super significantly if we say the wrong thing, right? Or say something and then things change. Yeah, that kind of thing is a little bit scary too. And there is also a question about that a little bit later.
So yeah, to make it more clear, actually, like I'm very aggressive with the amount of content I can like let people know.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can say something, I will definitely say it. So yeah, that's my.
All right. So I guess the next one is like he would like more information about land. So what resources can we expect from savanna, forests, and Luna drop rates? How is active passive game? I guess you answered that about active and passive gameplay.
Interesting questions.
Yeah.
Like, can you tell us what we know about the future?
I mean, I wish it would be sunny tomorrow. I don't know what will happen tomorrow 100% of the time.
I think, like, to make it a little bit like funny, I think you guys don't know much about the future, and there would be a lot of surprise.
Yeah, we have to. You can't share everything. We're trying to answer as much as we can, obviously. This one is a more interesting question, also a little bit abstract about the future. Will buildings require square/rectangles estates, or even randomly connected estates? Do specific buildings, right? So if you have like a square or longer area of buildings that you need to own to build something specific. I think actually we answered that in the blog post.
It's not really like a secret, right? Actually, we wrote about that.
Yeah, I think we actually said it clearly that some land, some like buildings would require significant amount of land.
Yeah, source of land is still the same.
Mhm.
So like normally, like one building would just like take one plot of land.
Mhm.
But like there's some kind of like special buildings. They would take like they would need you to have like a connected like estate.
Yeah, I think that's a fair answer.
That's not a new thing. Actually, like we released this already.
Yeah.
And
the
plan,
landscape.
yeah, the plan is still the same.
Right, but the shape specifically.
Mostly square and rectangle. Sometimes like if we want to like make it a little bit tricky, we could like.
You could say people needed a circle. I don't know.
Maybe like an oil pipeline.
I don't know. I think we're just kind of spit.
But yeah, most of the time it wouldn't be in a square or rectangle. I mean, square is just like a form of rectangle. So yeah, mostly rectangle.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's the same. Yeah, we're coming to that question a little bit later, Brookhawk. Is there anything else we missed in the chat? Ben Kelly is here. Welcome. Also, Allegra is here. Bronzebeard. Welcome to you all. A lot of familiar faces here. All right. But before we get to that, this is the question. Like he would like to know about drop rates from land, pretty much. Will we drop specific resources? I think we also answered that in the question, like even in the land sale document. But like if you want specific drop rates for per savanna land to start making a spreadsheet, I don't think that is this is not the time for that.
So there's some principles related to that. Regarding the type of resources you can gain from like various activities on your land, or like when people like go to, like drop by your land or like So there are two types of resources. The first type of resources is like kind of needed resources within for activities within the game. Something like, for example, like gold. For example, like wood. For example, like some kind of like stone. They are needed for like creating different buildings within the game. So just to give you guys an example, that's the first type of resources. The second type of resources is definitely like something like more valuable, something like Luna, something like Dai. Of course, like they provide more direct financial value, right? So I don't think we have the exact numbers of drop rate right now, but the principle we can provide that like the amount of reward should be proportionally related to the like value, the sale value of different land plots.
Yeah, I think that's also pretty important to see. When we had the pre-sale, we had like a basic like price for land, and that's kind of it says a little bit of how effective certain land plots can be also, and if they're more relate closer to the nodes, of course.
Because actually the exact drop rates, I mean, it cannot be communicated in just like one number. Sometimes it could be varies. It could be like a function, not just like a number. Number is just like a result of a function, sometimes like at a specific moment. Like for example, when the number of players like go up, like the drop rate could be a little bit different. And there's also one more thing I could confirm about the drop rate is that like sometimes the drop rate, I mean, it's not only proportional to the value of a different land plot, but sometimes like it could be even more skewed over the higher tier of land plot.
So that's interesting. From players who are super skilled, they might not need the highest tiers of land plots to harvest a lot of resources if they do big plays.
I mean, it makes sense because like it's like you have a discount when you like make a bulk purchase, right?
And also that, yeah. So, yeah, skilled gameplay matters. That's pretty much it. Here we have also specific questions about traveling. How long will it take for an Axie to travel from one big Arctic cross node inside the river to Luna's landing? Minutes, hours, days, weeks, months? Okay, and the last one I just added.
It should be days. It should be like long enough.
I'll just move a little bit closer.
It should be long enough for players to feel the difference between having like a savanna land plot and like a genesis land plot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it shouldn't be too long. Like 1 week could still be like reasonable, but more than that could be too long. Right now we are still playing with different numbers, but I would say like days could be the is our plan right now.
Yeah, so things are still a little bit in the air.
And also there's also like one more thing to keep in mind, like when we launch the game, we can even tweak the speed factor. Like sometimes like we see, like for example, like if it could take like 1 week to travel from the center of the map to the edge, if it's like too long, then we might like decrease a little bit. Sometimes we might like increase the time depends on the speed factor.
I think this is also a pretty important question regarding land gameplay that Brookhawk has. So he's asking, like, will Land Lunasia be an actual virtual world where players control avatars and can simultaneously and freely explore the world, participate in active activities, and communicate with others like Decentraland, CryptoVoxels, Roblox, Minecraft, and more?
So short answer, yes.
Closer.
So short answer, yes. Actually, it's like it's our focus, right? It's a very important aspect in our development process. Eventually, we want people to like treat Lunasia as like a virtual world, as our ultimate world.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we can go into details here. but probably shouldn't be doing that. And also, he's like asking, is it a project that yet to be started, or can you give us any technical details about its development? Like, what is the experience of the project lead working on this? Past projects, gaming engine skills, etc., or are they yet to be hired?
It's too detailed, actually.
Yeah. I think
Just separate it into different parts. So, for example, like is virtual work, it's just like an intention or something. Actually, it has been in our development progress, not just like an intention. And technical wise, actually, like going directly at a virtual world is actually like easier than having a lot of rules within the world. Because let's say if you have a blank, like you have a blank paper, I mean, it's much easier for you to do something. I mean, you don't have any rules. You can just like freely roam, like within the world. It's very easy to develop actually. And a world with like a lot of rules is actually like much harder to make. But we want to do so. We want to build like that kind of world at the beginning, because like a virtual world like without any rule, without any kind of like specific gameplay, it's just like a boring world because you cannot do anything with it. You can just like go around and see it.
I think also here this touches on some of our like more general ideas for how we view like the long term of Axie. Like, why will people actually want to make content in the world, right? We make a game so that people get drawn into the game world, and then these players potentially become creators in the game world. Like, they want to participate to get a portion of the revenue that's being generated in the world. And this is something that blockchain enables in a really good way. So yeah.
So regarding the team working on that, right now we have a full team of Unity engineers working on the specific game part, and of course they have the gaming engine skills. For the back end of it, we don't have any specific like experience related to building like virtual world, but we have experience like building like map-based products, like like, I mean, it's not about games, but it's about like product with a reward map. So it has some like similarities, I could say.
Yeah, I think in general we're pretty happy with our engineering team, and also like our reputation here in Vietnam is pretty strong, I believe. So we can hire a lot of good engineers here as well. And that there are a lot of questions about these things later as well. So I think it's time to move on a little bit here. If you want
to add on
okay.
one more, like for engineers, actually I can like review a fact. I mean it's just I can say it again. It's just a fact because nowadays when engineers have very specific skills, actually they got like that skill could like be audited in a very short amount of time. So normally we tend to have different skill set in different kind of like fields, and we tend to have a lot of like general or common technical skills in order to be able to jump directly into different problems and solve them. So sometimes it's not only about like having specific experience on like specific like kind of problem. It's very wrong in terms of engineering.
So it's more about like learning how to solve the problems that arise. Is that about correct?
I mean, even for the gaming industry, actually there's a lot of games with similar kind of like ideas, similar kind of like game design and gameplays. More often than not, you still have to solve a lot of like completely new problems. And if you have very specific skill, if you rely on your past experience, sometimes you would not know how to like solve a very new problem from the start. It's very dangerous in engineering.
So there you have it.
It's like you always have like you always need to have a T-shape. You have some kind of expertise, but also like your general knowledge have to be like very strong at the same time.
Yeah. So there you have it. Some engineering bombs being dropped randomly. Onto some. We got some direct questions, I should say, from some players.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, the first one isn't really a criticized questions, but we put it there just to have with the narrative before all others like criticized questions.
So I guess this is not really it's just a direct one about like ROI and money. And hello to some guys I know from Tromsø back in Norway. Welcome to the stream, guys. So do you expect real world benefits received from land to justify the real world costs? So basically, will you be able to make money in the game? That's kind of what the question is here.
Yeah, I think so too.
So you're like, yes, hopefully. I mean, we can't guarantee profits, just to make that 100%
clear.
Firstly,
Firstly, I didn't understand the questions.
Okay.
I thought it was about like something else.
Okay.
But eventually, like of course, like it's quick to figure it out. I think I could rephrase it a little bit, like you just did. Okay, I don't have to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, investment-wise, I mean, we cannot guarantee like 100% on investment deals. It's impossible to guarantee. However, like from a product development perspective, I think we always take it very seriously. For example, when we opened the land sale, I still remember that we have to did a lot of math and like for the game design part. And of course, right now, like some of it is outdated already. We have to like rework the most part of it. But at that time, we have to put like into it a lot of effort. And not only in terms of like technical details, also in terms of like the business viability of the project. I think we did it also like very seriously. Because I mean, we are not selling something like fake.
Yeah.
We're not selling something like which doesn't have any kind of value to you guys. And we have to think like very hard about it. We have to be very like careful with what we are doing here, because like pretty much like you guys, we also have to put our life into like making it right. It's not that like we can just like take the money and enjoy life. I mean, we still have to work a lot, and I mean, we quit our last full-time job. We spend our life in right now on this project. So it's also like a thing we have to consider seriously. I mean, if we are just having fun here, I mean, it doesn't make sense.
No, I think, yeah, to kind of like land on an answer here, I think for sure we are very careful about this, and we want to make sure that it has some kind of justification for the price. But guaranteeing like ROI, guaranteeing that things will go up in value, I think that's impossible. I mean, what we can guarantee is that we will give the best effort that we can do. Like we're working 12 hours a day, pretty much every day, to make this a reality.
So yeah, that's what we can guarantee.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like we're giving it our best effort here, and I think a lot of people can feel that there has been some progress. But yeah, onto the next one is also, why was there such a lack of emphasis on providing playable content for the users over the last 6 months? The community has not grown in that time.
So actually, these are first I criticized questions.
Yeah, this is
the last one is just like for the narrative. So actually, this question is not that hard. It's very easy to answer, and I will be very direct on this. There's some reasons I could say. The first is that actually people having a very hard time. I know a lot of projects out there like run out of funds and they have to shut down their projects. Fortunately, like we are operating in the countries with a low like living cost, So of course, like we could be very lean on the financial part. So yeah, I'm glad like so that part like help us like a lot, and I'm glad that we got through all of those times. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that like I don't know if I like understand this correctly, but frequently I see like people suck at us to do like this or that. I mean, I don't mean the whole community, but there are some people like they think that like developing a product is just like, I don't know, maybe just an easy thing or something. We can just like implement like 4 or 5 years, and then we can suddenly become a very successful game. And then of course we can like provide the profit for everyone. I mean, it's not true. Actually, like what we said in the last answer for the last questions, we are doing this very seriously, and actually what we are aiming for is even like higher than what you guys like expect. And this is like an honest thing. If we just aim for what you guys expect, like if we just aim for like some features, like to release some features like as fast as possible, I'm pretty sure that like this game will just die. So yeah, we have to aim pretty high, and also we have to do a lot to satisfy that kind of like standard. So as you guys already know, like we already have a funding round, and after that funding round, we have to hire like appropriate like people, appropriate like employees, like who share our vision of building like Axie Infinity, like to help us like developing the game and the ecosystem. And of course, like I mean, finding those people is hard, but after that, we also have to onboard them. Like having them believing in the vision is one thing, but like a lot of what we are doing here is like a lot of what we are doing here are new things, like blockchain development. I mean, it might be very familiar to you guys because you guys are within the space already, but for a lot of like people out there, it's not that intuitive. So we have to onboard them with that. We also have to onboard them with game economics, because actually in traditional game development it's very different. I mean, you can just issue game assets freely, and games, not like traditional games, tend to have like a life cycle, a short life cycle. Normally you have like something like a playable period for a game like that, and when you already went through all the like the whole period, like that game is supposed to be shut down. But a blockchain game is not like that. So we also have to onboard our employees, onboard our people with that kind of things. And I can say that right now we stabilized our team, and we are running with like full throttle over our like business goals or product goals. So that's a good thing. So yeah. So two points about why we haven't released a lot of like playable content. I think for the last year our team changed a lot. I still remember like last year I have to like code a lot. Right now I have to focus more on the product side. I have to focus more on the execution and operation side of the company. So yeah, a lot of things have changed. And yeah, I think we have gone through a lot of hard times actually.
Yeah, actually, to kind of land on something here, it's been a rough few years, rough almost 2 years now. I think it's easy looking outside and in obviously we've all kind of gone through the same journey with the crypto market really crashing down on us.
I think we normally don't talk about those kind of things, but
No.
like it doesn't mean that we didn't have any kind of hard times.
No, I think like sure. There it was hard, but I think from a team perspective, we've come out like stronger because of it. Like building a startup is never easy. I think we also learned that, especially with the crypto market going down and like the general world actually pretty much not being so supportive of crypto in general. So it's been super interesting, and what Trung also said about like onboarding the team and making sure that these guys really understand the vision of what's happening here, and that they can like participate and push us forward in a really good way. It's taken some time too.
We even have to like let ourselves out of the normal releasing cycle in order to onboard them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, if it's just only us doing things, I mean, of course we can release something like sooner, but also at the same time, like the team cannot scale, the company cannot scale.
So the way that we see it is actually like sacrifice some short-term gains, but like the short-term gains, but you are like gearing up for the long term, pretty much in line with how we're thinking always. And also, I just want to say that the last like question here, like the community has not grown in that time. I think that's not like just not true at all. Like we see that there is continuous growth on our Twitter, on our Discord. Percentage-wise, I guess maybe Jeff can check that. Just come closer so you can talk about that. And just
I feel like they can hear me, right?
I don't know, man. It's a little bit easy. Yeah, you can see there from the green. Try to stay within the green.
All right, so I think just by the numbers, like you can see that like around in the last 12 months, the number of addresses holding Axies is quadrupled. So like the way that we see it is, you know, we're working towards product market fit. We're not actively doing any paid promotion. So I think like, you know, also to go back to an earlier thing, we could have actually released the application probably in like June or July, but we really want to make sure that we're polishing and making something that is gonna be able to attract mainstream users. So
I think our alpha times has been like 6 months or something.
Yeah. To be honest, like I think like the idle battle system, like we kind of maybe even rushed it out a little bit because we're like, oh, like, you know, we committed to a date during the original like origin sale and kind of rushed things a little bit. And I think we learned a lot from that experience where, you know, we need to make sure that we're setting our own timeline and making sure that we release something that's amazing. So yeah, I think we feel really great about the upcoming application, and I think we have like a more systematic and methodical kind of like product or like feature release strategy now. So yeah, I think the community is actually starting to compound, especially with the new marketplace, and that's I think going to happen as we iterate on the application as well.
All right, thanks. So I think also that what's cool is that you can always just check the how many wallets are holding Axies. Everything is public, and check the Discord too. So that's just one thing that I disagree with the question there.
I mean, we know what we are talking about.
Yeah. So to the next one here, is there a better way that the team could be addressing the community's criticisms of decisions in a more healthy manner than just threats of banning?
Did we threat anyone?
I think maybe Jeff has said like a time or two that if people don't behave like in a non-toxic way, they will get banned, like almost as a joke. But I also think that there is like a very vocal minority that sometimes is quite angry with certain things that are happening.
I think we are pretty open when it comes to like accepting even criticisms from people, not just like constructive feedback. We even accept like criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
And actually we have enough logical thinking to like explain and also to like sometimes counter the argument people have. But I could say sometimes people are really, I don't know, angry or something.
I would say that like I don't think that I've ever banned anyone for fudding. I definitely haven't. I have banned people for being toxic. I have banned people for, you know, spamming links. Yeah, I don't really the idea of us like threatening people with bans, like that really doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah, I don't agree with this kind of like claim this question is put on us.
So what I can say from building like a community from before, like I don't. I think also sometimes you need to purge toxic individuals from a community if you're going to cultivate a good one. I mean that's just the way it is. It works long term too.
Because we only want to like communicate with people in like kind of like logical arguments. But I can say sometimes people don't want to, or maybe they just ignore our arguments, and they tend to like I don't know, make it really toxic.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually
Sometimes
like
it's
reading for
even
anything.
more dangerous because people like put that arguments under like a cover of like very logical thinking or something. But like my story that like in my last startup, I have to part way with it because like it's a toxic environment, and like a person there like they just like ignore all the logical argument from like everyone else. So I could say I have like at least some experience with like noticing which is like logical and which is not, and I can notice pretty quickly when someone want to put all like their kind of like illogical argument behind some cover of logical thinking. So
Yeah.
I think we are pretty logical in that sense.
I mean, we try to be. I guess I'm pretty happy with that kind of answer. What I can say is that it is impossible to please everyone in a community. So there will be sometimes people are sad, sometimes people are happy. I think we just have to deal with that and kind of move forward together.
And also sometimes it's even like it's dangerous because people tend to take a very like passive aggressive approach against it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the amount of damage they can make on our community is just like too huge.
Mm-hmm.
But like the capability for us to like defend like just like limited.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like in a very like important event, people can just like creating some kind of like nonsense arguments, and then like I mean we cannot just deal with all of them, especially in a crucial moment.
Yeah.
So like if people want to like really talk with us, I mean they can take advantage of like some events like this one, like a stream like this one. I mean if any person like want to kind of like take it like face to face, I mean we can just take it. We don't have anything to be afraid of.
Yeah. I think
But
that's
if, like they take it really, I mean
it's all about being strategic. I can say that strategic like aggressiveness, and like if we are, for example, like if we have a sale or if you're asking for tweets or like we're asking for great feedback, and then suddenly someone is just like attacking in a very positive feeling, and like everyone else is just gonna pile onto that, and that's just a very bad thing to happen in general. And it seems very strategic just to ruin it for us, right? Instead of just like coming up to us, asking us a question, and then we can kind of deal with that. Yeah, as I said, like for example in this forum. And then like I say, Brookhoff has got a question. Have you considered defining the relationship between NFT asset holders and the project? Axie core NFT holders are not investors, but you consider laying out what responsibilities or accountability the core project has to the NFT holders. I'm not asking you to answer this now, but would you consider working on this? I mean, yeah. This is. I mean, I think also Jeff already answered that in the chat actually. So we're always like trying to make sure that the incentives are aligned between the NFT holders, the investors, and then eventually people who have Luna too. So it's a tricky situation, but there has to be like aligned incentives so that everyone is working towards the same target.
actually we are super serious on aligning incentive.
Mm-hmm.
Even for our last like fundraising, for our last fundraising deal, I mean we even align our company value with the community value. I mean I cannot disclose that, but I mean we even put it in like something like legal contract. So yeah, we are super like serious with that.
Also, Zake is wondering if you will ever ban him. He wants you to answer that.
Who? Me?
Zake, yeah. He wants you to know if you will ever ban him.
If I say that I would never do so, I mean I would just like let Jeff do so.
Okay, so Trung personally won't ban you, but maybe Jeff will. We can't guarantee anyone not being banned.
I have banned less than 10 people in my entire life.
All right. Okay. So moving on to the next question. Will there be any new land gameplay available soon? I believe it was supposed to be already playable. When are we supposed to have parts upgrade available? So this is like a two-part question. First one is land gameplay coming soon? And when will the level 2 parts be coming?
So for the land gameplay, actually, like we are aiming for a pretty like high goal right now. Like so, it will not be available soon. Right now, we have something in our pocket, but like, it would take time because like you guys already noticed with our live battle, the alpha has been running for like 6 months, right? 6 months around that.
Mm-hmm.
So for land gameplay, I mean, we would be very careful because like blockchain games is not only about the gameplay, but it's also about the game economics,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing we don't want to be wrong about.
Yeah. So not for some time. For parts upgrade, I think yeah, same thing there, right? For goal is to first balance out the live battle system and then eventually roll that out.
So live battle system is a part of the land gameplay actually. So that's the first step. And UI would know more about that first step really soon.
Mm-hmm.
For later steps, we'll save it all later.
Okay. And then we have just a comment from some guy in the chat.
Still like on more part when we're supposed to have part upgrade.
Yeah, level 2.
So one of the things we want to change with our release process is that like we want to be super ready. So it's also to address like one of the earlier questions, like why we didn't have like so many like playable content released. We really want to change that. We really want people to enjoy the game in a frequent like basis. So with the body part upgrades, right now we tend to finish like so I think I already told you guys that we finished the art for like level 2 body parts. Right now we are also working on the effect for the parts, and we need to make sure like it's balanced somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And also at the same time, like we will not release only level 2 body parts. We even want to push it that we have full body parts for even for level 2, level 3 to release that at once. Not that like releasing at once because people have to spend time in order to have like enough requirements to level. But like at least from a development perspective, we want to have everything ready at once.
So in a sense that I view it as a different, it's the same feature, but it's a different kind of progression system. So you first one will be like you have Axies, they can PvP and balance that out, and then like the next is like how to level them up, and then balancing that out.
Because there's like there's some fact about it. So game design wise, you cannot balance the game without like thinking about like a lot of things beforehand. Let's say if you only design the level 1 body parts without thinking about level 2, like high chance that it would be like imbalance later.
Mm-hmm.
That's the situation we have right now, right? And we don't want to make the same mistake with level 3. So yeah, we have to rework level 1 body parts. We have to like design the effects for level 2 and level 3. Like those 3 things have to be done at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's for the design game design part.
All right. Then as I said, we have a comment here from someone called Mighty Bo. It says he seconds. I think it's about like the development for the game. We were talking like some real talk. That developing a crypto game right now is really rough. Everyone wants fast updates, cool content, incomes from the game, great user acquisition, great PR. It doesn't happen like that. You need to make choices. Keep up the great work, Axie Infinity. Thanks, man. And I think that's also very true. We're doing like absolutely everything we can to align, like to make sure that we have the correct allies. Like Samsung right now, we have HTC who are on board with the Axie vision, and we have so many like big partners who are just waiting for that breakout moment. and then we can kind of really take it to the next level. So yeah. Okay, so Brookcock is saying here, I'm not really talking about incentives. I'm talking about similar accountability like you have or should have to your new funders like Animoca Brands. The NFT holders are a type of funder, like investor, you mean? Yeah, in a sense.
So I mean, maybe I'm not supposed to speak it on behalf of the company, but like me personally, I consider like NFT, not NFT holders. Just I know it's hard to differentiate because like not all NFT holders are funders. There's some kind of like guarantee that they wouldn't be a funder. Like if you buy into the pre-sale, like if you have any kind of like origin mistake, of course you are funder.
Yeah, I think that's a.
So it's really like it's not obvious like that, but okay. I mean, maybe we can even accept that like all NFT holders right now are funders. Just assume it that way. It doesn't like so. It's not so different. For accountability, I mean, it's really hard.
I think we're doing that actually. I think we are like accountable. We're still here. We're still building. I mean,
so I think like crypto is all about, it's like a social contract, right? And these communities run by social consensus. So yeah, I think like if without the support of the community, if we don't do right by you guys, even more so than our equity investors, like you guys are what drives our growth engine. You guys are what drives actual usage of our product. So if we don't do right by you, and honor the promises that we've made, then we have nothing. So actually, it's quite easy, I think, to see like how we have to basically make sure that your valid concerns are always addressed and that we're listening to you guys and treating you like stakeholders.
I mean, without you guys, we will be nothing. It's just a fact. I mean, without players, I mean, there would be no game.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I think we have more accountabilities than what the community expect. So that's the first thing. But if you feel it like differently, then there's still like the second point. Sometimes we have to make like hard decisions because actually it benefits us all. Like sometimes fast update doesn't mean that the game would be successful.
Yeah, the problem is that building a company like is a lot of things are hidden from people. As much as we want to be as transparent with everything, it just doesn't work from a like competitive perspective as well. Like if we share everything, then it would be hard to get it like an advantage. But yeah. So we have a lot of questions more. Do you want to? These are the ones that you outlined. Maybe I can choose a few here.
We still have a lot of time, actually.
Yeah, we have some time at least. We're already going almost 2 hours, actually. No,
really?
almost. No. Yeah, almost a little bit over 1 hour. So I guess we can stay for 2 hours. So what is the role, or is there a role that tags such as MioCorp or Origin will have in future gameplay?
Go with yeah.
Oh, you wanna do this one?
Yeah, it's in the later flow, and then we come back to some.
Okay.
Other questions.
All right, guys. So we are coming to the interesting part. I mean, everything here has been obviously interesting, but now we have a small thing we want to show you guys. And Trung, I guess you can start like announcing some small stuff first.
So I think we already announced that we would have like several surprises this month. I think we released like two
already. Yeah.
Two. So actually, like this AMA is like it might be like another surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll review it like too soon, but it's okay. We will have like some more later this month.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to.
Yeah.
First one?
Do you want me to say this?
Yeah.
Or all right. So for this month, we are expecting the community alpha of the game to be released, and that means that 2 seconds. I just wanted to confirm before I leak too much. So to start over again. So today.
They can read your mouth.
Yeah, that's why I was hiding it. All right, starting over again. So we're really happy to announce that we are expecting the community alpha to be ready by the end of this month. And that means that anyone who owns an Axie will be invited to play. And that means that you can download the application on TestFlight, start playing against other players, give feedback, and then eventually we're going to be rolling out more and more features for that. And to kind of take it to the next level, we want to show you guys currently how the application is looking, and Trung will be playing a game against a bot. So give me a second, I'm gonna spin it up here. Let's see. I will turn on the music and sound. And at that point, we will go here and jump in here. So this is how the application is looking. Of course, it will be available both on iOS, so TestFlight, and on Android, and on the computer, so on PC, iOS, so people can play. Right now we are queuing. We're going to play against a bot for now.
There's no one here because we don't want to have some risk. We're going to showing it live on the stream. So yeah, bot.
All right, you want to play?
You can just do it maybe.
Yeah, this is my team actually.
Bad drawing, I could say.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. My tank didn't get any cards right now. So I think for this time I have my energy down here, and then I have my card down here. The cards that I have left in my deck. So every turn I draw some new cards and I get some more energy, and I have some time to make my moves. So for this round, I think maybe I'm gonna use this one. Yeah, just pass it. So I need some more cards. So that I can make a little bit of a better decision here.
The second Axie is pretty fast, so actually you can heal your. But you don't have.
I don't have any heal. Heal things. Yes. We can't see.
You're saying to move
the camera. Can put it a little bit up here.
Just throw it away.
Yeah. Let's see.
See
There you go. Are you happy now? All right. So. Yeah, I have two sweet parties here. This guy is pretty fast. He is moving third in the round, so I'm gonna actually use double heal here.
No, that would be.
I think it's okay. No, I think
you only need one.
Hey, now I'm playing this game. now I'm playing the game here. No, I'm playing the game right now. I think that's fine.
I think just one, and because this move on your tank.
Yeah, maybe I have enough.
A little bit of the damage.
I'm gonna use this one instead. So you use cards on various axes, and you can see what does this guy have. All right, okay, so you can check the various abilities that the axes have. 5 seconds again now for the round to start. And so Super Twitch is saying get way more tactical, and the cards look fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so he wasted his ability. I got my heal ready, and yep. Seems good, and now we can start making some moves. Hopefully this guy should survive. He destroyed one of my energy, that's not too great. So I need to discard a card because I have too many cards. Yeah, this is not too great. So I'm discarding this card. You can only carry a maximum amount of cards. Yeah, should heal myself probably at this time. And then I'm gonna save some mana because I really want to use these two. Tiny Swing is super strong after round 4. Yeah, I need one more round. So I just want this guy to survive.
No,
it's too. He's probably gonna.
Maybe just take two.
No, it's too low armor. I don't want to spend energy on that. So hopefully this guy survives. Yeah, he should survive with the heal. Is there a time limit to make move? Play a card aspect so? Yes, there is a time limit to make moves. So hopefully, this guy survives. So now I'm having to discard a card, but I think that's fine. Some of my cards are not so great. Not Perfect Mark is okay. I'm gonna discard these two cards. And now finally my bird DPS can start attacking. I'm gonna use this one, these two. Yeah, I'm gonna use for this here. Wait, did that?
From this one.
From this one?
Yeah, to get some ammo.
I think this one, nullify damage. Yeah, I think
you can
that's
survive
okay.
One more round with this. No, one. Yeah.
No, it's a little bit low.
Because you cannot kill the other tank.
I can. I'm gonna try this. I'm playing the game right now. How much mana do you get per turn? You get 2 mana, 2 energy per turn. Oh, let's see how this happens if I can kill this guy. I think I'm gonna be able to destroy this guy. Nice. He didn't take any damage, and now, yeah. You see? You see? Okay, I'm just gonna have to show our faces because that was some excellent gameplay right there. So you can save mana if you want to. Exactly, it says Shadow. Gonna put our face up here so you guys can see. Some of these effects are pretty lit, says Super Twitch. Yeah, that's right. So we're super excited to see when people will start streaming this game and some really exciting moves in tournaments and stuff. So I can't wait to see that. I think maybe this guy is gonna die now because I don't have any moves with too much.
Skip it.
Yeah, skip this. I think that's fine. Just to leave this guy is gonna die. No wait, is he dead? No, he's gonna die. So I'm just gonna leave it. He's dead. Axie Esports, that's right. I will stream the shit out of this. Zake and RC Tech is gonna be streaming. That was bad. Maybe.
It's okay.
This energy though, how much energy? Yeah, you can't see how much energy. You can see how many cards this guy has. So this guy has 3 cards in his hand. For us.
This team really good.
Yeah. Can I make?
This team really quick.
Yeah, my team. This is a bad team. That's right. I wanted to test out this tank. Yeah.
Some of these bird moves are gonna do a lot of damage to that beast, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is just YOLO here.
That's too much. It's overkill. You gonna overkill it?
No. I think that's okay.
One energy yet?
No. I'm good. I'm a professional gamer here, guys. I know what I'm doing here. No. This guy needed to have some armor or he would die. True damage, he didn't even. That was a bad bot move anyway. See, if I didn't have all this, he wouldn't die. Like if he just miss. Oh, nice. Now I got this guy. Now I'm gonna win. Oh, this actually the.
I think you can just pass this round and see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Could you show us the information panel again? It's cool. You mean this guy for the Axies? So you can see, especially what
it's just Louis just talking.
Oh.
He's on about that.
Oh my god. Alright. So my Axie died now, but I have a super good move, so I'm gonna use this one and try to fire away everything to make sure that I beat this bot player. Shout out to the art team.
You're doing it wrong. Actually, you have to do it first to increase your damage, and then.
Oh yeah.
It's too
It's okay though, because I did it anyway. Because I won the first official match on stream.
Against the bot.
I don't care. Victory. I'm winning games every day.
Okay, don't click it.
No. Yeah. All right. Don't want to reveal what's happening yet. That's a good idea. I will click victory. All right, GG guys. That was nice. I hope you guys enjoyed this leak and that you guys are ready for the community alpha, which is starting soon. Super excited to see you guys start streaming a little bit, and I'm gonna exit here
I
now.
think that was a pretty small leak actually, compared to what we have in store for you guys.
Speak a little bit louder.
I think that was a pretty small leak actually compared to what we have in store for you guys. A lot of surprises. That was actually like even maybe a slightly outdated version of the app. So
No, it's not an outdated version, but we removed some content.
I see.
Oh yeah, yeah. We don't want to share too much about the app yet, but yeah. So I guess Brookhoff has another more on the like question, like a little bit of a not aggressive, but like concern. Should be addressed about insider trading. Conflicts of interest. As the team is expanding, what do you do to prevent/limit people from trading on inside information? Like buying and selling game assets with non-public info? Can you share your written insider trading policy and or conflict of interest policy?
It's hard.
Yeah.
I think even for like normal companies, it's hard to do so. Right now we are trying our best, of course, like, and we are doing it a little bit differently. So first of all, of course, we are taking kind of like common conventions like other companies. Of course, we cannot show you like
The contracts
the
and stuff.
contract.
That would be a little bit strange, I think.
But I mean, yeah, we are doing it like the same way as other companies. And the second thing, like, is even more important. Right now, for all of the like important information, there's only myself and Masamune, not even Jeff, not even Alec, have that kind of like information. Because I mean, we are able to do it because actually, like me and Masamune, we cover a lot of the area of the development process. I mean, I could be an engineer, I could be like a marketer, I could prepare like a lot of stuff for the game, and Masamune can prepare like the art for it. So if there's some kind of like important stuff, we don't need like other to help us. We can do it ourselves. And right now we are doing so to like preserve the quality of privacy for all of our release. So I think it's even better than like just like normal convention. Of course, we are still doing normal conventions, but we are taking like a super like careful step here.
Yeah, I also like. I would like to point out that keep in mind that we also come from the, like we met playing CryptoKitties and we saw that there was some damage that happened there in that community after like some insider stuff might have happened. So we are super careful.
And also like I think we even push it like more. We design the game in a sense that it's very hard to utilize like insider trading. Of course, we cannot like do it 100% of the time. But for example, like in our last mail release, right? And even for like breeding, for example, like normally we make it like just X.
Mm-hmm.
You can just buy X. You cannot just buy like Axie directly.
There's some
So-
random elements, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same for land as well. Like there was a like we could just buy chests and it was random. Like you can't buy specific super rare. I mean, you can buy from the marketplace, but market value, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think Brookhawk, it's a good question, but still very like hard to say like how can we do this in a really good way. We're trying, of course.
I mean, if they are better like practice, of course we can just like adopt them.
Yeah, and I don't see any company like. I mean, you're saying that that it's normal that it's normal things in the real world to share the written insider trading policy and conflict of interest policy. If you have something like
No,
this,
I mean,
can you
right-
share that with
I
us?
mean, right now we don't have anything called like insider trading policy.
Mm-hmm.
It's incorporated in our employee contract.
Yeah, I think
That's why we cannot share it.
Yeah,
I mean, of course we
I-
can share our trading policy.
I think like it would be interesting to read what other companies have too. Just curious about that. So if you could share that with us directly, that would be great. And also
But
welcome.
is it supposed to be public to other, right?
Yeah,
I
the
think
policy. Yeah, the
is
policy is supposed to be public, I guess. I mean, of
Maybe-
course,
Maybe
yeah.
we should start making one.
Maybe, yeah, or share it at least.
I mean, I think like the thing here is that, you know, so like when we talk about the real world, those insider trading policies are related to like equity in a publicly traded company. And NFTs are not securities, so it's not necessarily something that we have to do, but it is something that we are cognizant of. And we've also structured the game where, you know, there is limited ability to abuse, but for abuse. However, like for example, with the upcoming Mystic release, like people within the company were very careful, right? Like not to we're gonna just, as employees like
no.
buy the Mystic floor.
Yeah, no one-
we don't even know. We don't.
No
Sometimes
one knows about that except myself and my son.
Yeah, and we don't even know like if, for example, like
When it's coming, I should say. Even
like the market is not a 100% easy thing to predict, right? So like, you know, even if the Mystic upgrade is coming, it's actually difficult to even know whether everyone's going to buy the floor and things like that. So
And I think we also made a commitment that we would, like even a long time ago, that we would add certain things to Mystics, right? And like for example, even to Mio and to Origin Axis. So
But even for ourselves, I think we have like much more thing to lose. I mean,
yeah.
of course we can get like some more value with, buying Axies, but we
Yeah,
have much more things to lose.
Like, okay, so what are we trying to build here? I think that's also like a little bit that needs to be considered. Like, if all things go well here, we're trying to build like a really major company here. it's not something that we want to jeopardize to earn like 10 ether on a trade, and that would be kind of strange. If there will be more body aesthetical breeding events in the future. Breeding events, I think we already, Trung said that there was no comment on that.
The most important thing is like
near future. I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
If we have something in mind, we'll not even review that.
Yeah, I think that may be coming, but yeah, some things that I don't want to answer. So we have covered pretty much I think the most important questions. Of course, there are others that we will go through now. There's still a list of, I think, 20 questions left, but we're almost at 1.5 hours, so we have maybe an hour, 30 minutes left. So regarding tags again, what is the role, or is there a role, that tags such as MioCorp or Origin will have in future gameplay? Like other than Cosmetic, I guess. Right now, the tag, they have some tag, but
we don't have any specific plan on that. Right now, we are not at a stage that we can design things specifically like gameplay for Mio and Origin. Of course, like Cosmetic, we can do a lot, but gameplay wise, it's not much thing we can do. We are focusing on the main game right now. So yeah. I think we also want to add more value to like Bistic, Origin, Mio, of course, but also at the same time developments why we have to prioritize other kind of like features and gameplay. So if we have a chance, then we will do something.
I think you also mentioned that when you were touching on the point, like who are the real like investors or founders or funders like of the Axie original community, right? So the people who are actually holding Origin Axies or holding Mystic Axies, obviously the most like expensive and like really the high value Axies that we have, it's natural that we would try to take care of those in the future, I think, as well. So for nice, we have Neopets in the chat who says Neopets was cool, but Axie Infinity is next level. That's right. So do you plan to return to the idea of Mio tokens? Like if someone complete a quest in Lunasia, can they get one Mio token? Like as a bounty, I guess they mean.
It doesn't have to be Mio token, right?
It's just a form of reward in a sense, right?
Some kind of reward would do.
I think like we're generally trying to reward people. So yeah.
So it's not really specific to Mio token.
But I guess that's a question specifically there that he wants to know, or she wants to know. Will Mio return? From a bounty campaign perspective, or from like a gameplay perspective.
So this question is about gameplay, right? It's not about completing a bounty or something.
I mean, so like a quest in Lunasia universe can be a bounty too, the way that I see it, and it could also be gameplay, both, I guess.
I don't know. It's too hard to answer.
Okay, then
what I would say is I think there's more interesting ways.
I don't have any clue right now. I didn't think about it.
So we need to think more about that. Yeah.
I think our principle is that like Mio token is for the shop. So if it's for the shop, it should still be sold in the future, right? Of course, like for some quest, maybe we can get Mio token. It's also possible. But I just want to remind like people that like Mio token is normally for the shop.
So for those of you guys who missed Mio tokens, like it's the way that we introduced the new genes into the gene pool. So we opened the shop and then sold Mio tokens for a set price, or sold Axies for a set price. On to the next question. Are there any plans for a comeback when it comes to the bounty or contest? I mean, also more visibility through dApps, related sites like giveaways with prizes. So I guess in here, like there's a two-part. So will the bounty program return? That's the first one. I mean, it's the same thing actually as almost the last one. It's a kind of reward. So I think like what's happening is that we will be rewarding people for the content and everything, like the value that they bring to the network. But whether it's going to be in a bounty, going to be called a bounty system, the reward system is different.
I think bounty is possible, right? because like some kind of like art contest or something, I think it's pretty much possible. But for giveaway with prize, I think it's normally for like early phase game when we have more content. I don't think we need to be super aggressive with that kind of like growth hack. We can be more like creative with the way we want to attract like new players.
I should also say that from a legal perspective, it's a little bit dangerous to give away things like tokens, from what I've heard lately. But anyway, this is a very interesting one. Are you thinking of introducing a referral system that is not directly related to buying land?
So I would go through some questions in the chat.
First, all right.
So the first one from Frick. Is there a way to make our existing Axies more rare, more valuable other than level 2 pots?
Jeff, you want to take over here?
I'm not sure if I understand this.
Just we are. Yeah, about there.
Okay, I understand it a little bit. I cannot comment on that much right now. But actually, the options are pretty limited with what we have right now. Maybe we have to change some mechanics in order to make it a little bit more interesting. So the next question is: any comments on releasing AOC in the future? Right now, there's only some AOC left, and it doesn't make sense to release AOC. Maybe it could be like a fun prize in some kind of like contest or in some events, but releasing AOC is hard.
I think we have a lot of like more interesting like ways that we can do like quests and rewards coming up soon, like with things like Dai, Luna. Like we even have like Loom rewards too from our validator. So I think like AOC is like something that, you know, I think we want to make sure that we still have enough of like long term.
I think AOC is supposed to be rare.
Yeah, and also we have to be mindful that, you know, if we issue new AOC, we're also like, you know, increasing the liquid supply of origins on the market. And so right now, like, you know, we want to make sure that the Mystic and the origin market remain healthy.
So for Jackie's questions, there's not much to say about it, actually.
Yeah, just skip that one.
When Jackie got more Mio tokens. I could only say keep up the great work. For the SDK, so right now we are developing using our own SDK. It's like using our own dog food. It still takes some time until we can release that kind of SDK to people. But at least right now we are like we are our own like child victim.
I think like one thing that we want to, you know, do a little bit more of over the coming years too is like have hackathons, and you can kind of also like look at like our API as like a mini SDK, because, you know, obviously like people have built stuff on top of Axie without having like a formalized SDK. Mm-hmm. So I think also just like looking at our API and like figuring out how we can make it more accessible, easier to use.
So actually building SDK is even harder than building game features, because I mean developers or engineers tend to have like a higher standard compared to like normal people. But the benefit from it, like right now, I'm not saying that like in the future, but right now the benefit of having an SDK is not that huge. But having like gameplay for people is going to be more beneficial. Tournament contest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, like Al, like AOC obviously would be an amazing reward, but we have other stuff.
We were not talking about selling either.
We weren't talking about selling.
We were talking about tournaments and contests. Yeah. Any D5 implementation in the work?
Yeah, I mean, we're very close with a lot of like DeFi teams in the space.
Experiments.
Yeah.
But it's still like they are still experiments right now.
Sure. But yeah, like if you take a look at my Twitter feed, you'll see that we're quite close with a lot of like DeFi teams in the space.
But yeah, one of the reason why we don't want to push much on the DeFi aspect right now, even though we are hard fan of it, like we really love DeFi and we are friends with a lot of DeFi team in the space, because like I think combining DeFi with great gameplay will be like much better. But if we just like incorporate some of the DeFi element like in the game right now, I mean it's more like a DeFi project, not a game project actually.
Yeah, the core focus right now is definitely on gameplay and adding new content, and I think like what we've seen from the community also like kind of backs up that that should be our core focus right now.
Because actually there's like some abstract with the DeFi integration in our game. For example, in the land pre-sale, we use like Kyber without like body even noticing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did something, we have done something, and we will continue to do so. But right now, we still need some more gameplay to incorporate like DeFi elements in a really creative way.
That said, like 5% of mystics are now in Jihodo, and I see that as like actually kind of like a CFI experiment with NFTs, probably the first one ever. So, yeah.
Okay, I think we went through like.
Okay, so I guess we can go back to the list then. Yeah, are you thinking of introducing any referral system that is not directly related to buying land?
Yes. Okay, next questions.
Yeah, how you gonna introduce more in the field of earn per play, so I guess play to earn model in 2020?
How am I supposed to answer this? I mean, house is a how question is pretty broad. I mean, we prepare more content, we prepare more gameplay, we prepare more features, and that's pretty. I mean, it's still the same thing we have been doing, and that's it. I don't think there's any kind of like special thing. But the tricky part of like play to earn is that like I think the economics have to be really solid, because otherwise it would be a chaos. I mean, do you earn something? I mean, you even earn a lot. Like the number could be a lot, but you don't have any like feeling of earning significant things. I mean, it's pretty boring, or it's pretty like worthless.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, adding more gameplay and also making sure that the gameplay is like tied into the token economy is quite important, but it's also like quite hard to make it right. So.
Because it's play to earn, right? And like you cannot earn something from nowhere. It has to be from somewhere. So it like there should be some value behind to power the ecosystem. So
yeah.
It's not like free money. It's not that you can like earn something out of nowhere. It has like we have to prepare like a lot of value so you guys can earn it, right?
Yeah. Next question is,
what
is delaying you to show us the new roadmap and tell us more about the Luna tokenomics?
So there are two parts here about Luna tokenomics. I think we have to wait for the legal side to finalize everything. I mean, it's not an easy thing. We cannot just like release everything right now, because like token is bounded by it's not like NFT. NFT is more like it's more free, right? But for like token, it's bounded by a lot of like jurisdiction. Regarding the roadmap, actually we have a pretty clear internal roadmap, but we don't want to like public it, because we have like a lot of bad experience with like releasing roadmap, but we changed the plan and we didn't follow the original roadmap. So right now we tend to just like do first and then like release. And normally we would just like announce several days beforehand. Some important release we of course will announce like I don't know, a longer period of time ahead. But yeah, other than that, right now we tend to focus more on development and release things like when we are ready. One nice thing about that is that like it's not that we are playing around with delaying things. I think right now our speed is pretty good, and you guys will see like release and updates more often. So if we follow that kind of like schedule, I think a roadmap is unnecessary. Of course, we still have some kind of high-level roadmap for you guys to see later. Like when we clear our current like high priority backlog, of course we will get into that. But right now we are pretty busy with some surprising release.
Definitely. I think like this next question is kind of already really been addressed.
Do you foresee people being able to make a living from Axie?
Yes. People are already making a living.
I mean, make something. It's already like it already happened, but like make a living. I mean, for some like countries with low living cost, I think it might be possible. But right now we still have to do a lot. We still have to try a lot. We still have to deliver a lot in order for it to be 100% possible. It's for ourselves to deliver, and also it's for like yourself, because you have to play, like you have to do really well in order to make it possible, right?
Mm-hmm. And how often will world events happen?
Like what? Like breeding event? Or
not sure.
world
Like
event in
like maybe in Lunacia, like Blood Moon or something like that. Yeah.
I think at least weekly. Because
yeah.
like that's the theme of the gameplay. Blood Moon happens every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think like basically there will be certain events that happen like on a weekly cadence, but there will be others that happen more on like a quarterly, so every like 3 months, for example, things like maybe ladders or big tournaments.
We have a season system.
Yeah.
But we will review that later. It's also related to the next questions. Do you have plans to organize big tournaments at least seasons? If so, any ETA when you expect to do the first one? So like we just said, we will have a season format, a season system, and we hope that we can, I mean it's not that we hope, but like at least we can do like one tournament every season.
Actually, I know what he's asked. Is that RC Tech's question, right?
Should be from RC Tech.
Yeah, so I can see he asked in the chat too. So I think
And so like
yeah, this one.
so of course we will host some tournaments, but also at the same time like we would expect like community members to host them.
I think since like I care a lot about tournaments and stuff, for us, like we need to create an ecosystem where people are incentivized to make tournaments and stream and commentate. So we can maybe make some and then like look for people in the community who are really good, and maybe they can make sanctioned tournaments, official tournaments. That kind of thing is very interesting to me. But it's also like if they deserve to get supported by the ecosystem, right? Because we won't support anyone who is not doing like they're not doing a good enough job. So I think we want to give people a chance and then kind of see which tournament organizers get the best support and that kind of thing. But it will be easier to support the people who are doing a good job, right?
I think there should be one question directly related to that questions also, to the previous questions also, but I cannot find it.
Maybe
Like,
that one, right?
No, I think maybe in Discord. Can I open Discord?
wait. Actually, Jack, that's fixed.
I don't have to be jumping around all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be Q. No, wait. Oh, it should be down. There. When plushies. Yeah, I got this is a new Axie t-shirt. It's nice. It got delivered today, just like 30 minutes before the stream. So I am the first person to officially wear this one.
I cannot find that question.
What was
but maybe like
what was it about?
The previous answer will.
Yeah, I think like
that.
for tournaments it's very
Something about
yeah.
tournaments. I believe it's from like maybe Coco.
I mean, so what? Yeah, Coco had a lot of good ones. Let's
Coco's
see.
questions are out next on the
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Will app have support for creation of custom tournaments for ETH, Axie, Luna items or land? I mean, as reward or as like betting mechanism.
Yeah, and also for rewards, I think it's pretty open. It can be pretty much whatever we want. But what I can say is that I'm always pushing for tournaments because I know how important it is. And we definitely want to organize a big tournament with some cute, like really big sponsors also sometime in the next year. Like what I want to do is even a world championship sometime. But I think can't like say too much about exactly how that will happen. But it's all about like if the community wants to make Axie Infinity into an esports, or if the community, like if we see that there's a lot of good streamers, a lot of good players, the competition level is high, the game is balanced, then yeah, it makes sense to turn it into like a competitive game. But it has to be like an approach that takes a little bit of time. Like you can't really force something into becoming an esport, right? It's really hard.
So for making Axie into like a competitive enough game, right now we still have some game design rework in the process. For hosting tournaments, like for custom rewards, yeah, we also have plan to support that. And I think you guys will see it soon because that's also one of our priority. I think we cannot rely on only ourselves to host a tournament, and also in order to create more playable content for the game, letting people to host tournament ourselves is also a really nice angle to tackle.
Yeah, it actually aligns. Yeah.
We don't have to like build content, like we don't have to add content directly. Something like Axie Body Pass, something like Axie Body Shapes. I mean, even people playing with like their friends, with their like clan could be like also considered a form of like content.
Yeah, user generated content is, it's all about like how did we end up in a situation where Axie Infinity is no longer just this one game. It's all about like we realize that people want to make games on top of Axie, so it's more than a game. It's like a universe and a platform where people can build things and create their own content. And like creating a tournament is a part of that, and then creating other games where there can potentially be other tournaments is also a part of that.
So to make it a little bit like more technical, so adding content is just additive. I mean, you add some content, of course you have the value of that addition, right?
Yeah, you can play it one time, right? That's it.
But for like some kind of like platform related things like tournament creation tools, it would add more like depth into the gameplay. It's like multiplicative.
I think that's the general idea why a lot of people are interested in making a platform, right? Because you depend on everyone else to make the content. And we want to do that too, but we want to make some content ourselves first, so that people actually get drawn into the universe.
We need to have enough like first-party content first.
And if you don't have that, then you don't really have anything, because then you get to a place where everything is like super expensive. Everyone is waiting for the person to come in and build it, so that there can come users. It doesn't make any sense from our perspective. So that's why we want to make the content first and then make a platform eventually.
So yeah, I think Coco missed that questions, right, or something. Or maybe we forgot to put it into.
But maybe no, I think I answered it.
What is the main goal in 2020 regarding user growth? It's pretty like broad questions actually. So our main goal in 2020 regarding user growth. So it happens in steps. Firstly, we have to like deliver the game, or at least like the significant part of the game first. At least it have to be pretty much like playable. It has to be like enjoyable by people first. And then like when we are confident in the quality of the game, we will push for user growth. So the approach we are doing right now is pretty similar to other kind of like game studio doing, some sense. We would have a community alpha coming up next. We would have some time for people to try, and also for us to measure like a lot of metrics from that release. And then when we add enough like content features and we see all the metrics are good or enough, then we would do like a soft launch in like several markets. I could say like several countries, and after that, like when like we are super like okay with the soft launch, of course we will expand it into a global launch. So that's our like plan right now. I cannot comment much on the timeline of different like of those milestones, but the plan is to make it into different steps like that. We have our internal plan for those milestones, but we might avoid like sharing them here. Will the marketplace in mobile app be available for Luna or ETH? If not, how will you bring new players to use the marketplace? So last week we just released the new version of marketplace. Even in the future, it will act as the main hub for like people buying, selling, trading Axies, and even like other kind of game assets. At the same time, putting like a version of the marketplace into an app is still like questionable, because we are not 100% sure if like Apple and Google would allow that. I know out there's a lot of fantasy games, like for example like football fantasy games. People can like buy and sell like football characters, football cards. But in order to do so, they need to have an in-game currency, and in order to buy that kind of in-game currency, they have to like go through in-app purchase. So our plan is to experiment a little bit, even like day by day. Like we want to test the limit of those app store. Right now we are not 100% sure, but we will keep pushing it to see the limit of what we can do for our mobile app.
I think also the question is like, will the marketplace be for Luna or ETH? So he's actually talking about like the currency that people can pay with as well in the marketplace, not only in the mobile app.
Yeah, that's what I just said. That's a tricky part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's in like an in-game currency.
Okay, yeah.
Like
no, then I understand.
Be pretty like completely compliant with the App Store like regulation.
But it would be different to sell. Like what I'm thinking is that Luna is not necessarily an in-game currency either. Since it's a token, right now. So it's a little bit different. So we would maybe have to make a third one, which would be to be compliant with their rules. But I mean, this one, how you to bring new players is a different question.
So if we cannot have the current marketplace in the app, we might need to have like a separate one, a game-friendly one within our app, and we have to abstract a lot of crypto like mechanism, a lot of crypto-related like terms.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we have to tie with the game economics somehow. We have some ideas, but right now it's still too soon for that. Like I said, like we still have to experiment to test the limit of of those App Store service providers.
So how will we bring new players to the marketplace? I think that also combines into the question you answers for growth. I mean, if they come into the game, eventually they will have to
in-game marketplace, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't even need them to use the outer marketplace, as long as the economics aspect wouldn't be tied to each other. I mean, it should be okay.
Yeah. So this one is an interesting one. Soulbound Axies or free to play Axies? It's the same thing actually. And will they have lower stats or what will be limits? So.
Yes, we would have Soulbound Axie for new users. Thinking if I can, like how much I can reveal. They would not have lower stats, but there would be some limits. Of course, the most obvious limit is that like you cannot trade Soulbound Axie, right? You cannot sell Soulbound Axie. and that's the purpose of the word Sobao. Other than that, like there's not much different compared to normal Axies. We are not finalizing if Sobao Axie can breed. Even if they can, then the children will be sold out also. But we are not sure about that idea. They might not be able to breed. It's still undecided. And also, one of the important principles is that like there should be enough content for Sobao Axie for people to like try the game with just like Sobao Axie. But also at the same time, there must be some gap. There must be some like difference. There must be some gap. So people are incentivized to reach out to normal Axies, right?
It's like a gateway. So you begin with free, and then this is like looks like a cool game. Maybe I should spend some money on it, but you don't get the full experience of everything in the game.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
There would be some difference for people to like. There would be some difference, so people are incentivized to buy normal Axies. I mean, they still have that Sobao Axie, but like having normal Axie, having like Axies will grant them like more angle to play with the game content. It should be like that.
Yeah. Maybe let them breed one time to let the player feel excitement of breeding, says Chief, and then says Rails, and have the baby be untradeable. I mean, these are things that can be tried out, but I mean, would it not be cooler if they purchased the Axies and then they've been like unlock the breeding feature, so to say? I mean, it's a game design thing that needs to be considered.
That's also something that we can introduce. We can look at the data. If we see that the activation rate for people who,
That's too technical.
Okay. And this is about land for free-to-play users. So I guess immediately, will the app provide free-to-play for new users? And how in such case will they use land? Will they have their own common plot or some kind of it, or will they all live on our lands?
It's a hard thing in the game design process. Right now, I don't have the answer for it because we are still thinking about it. We know how to onboard a free-to-play user to our like current Axie gameplay, the battles, but for LAN gameplay, it's still like there's still a lot of things we have to figure out, and how to onboard free-to-play players to LAN gameplay is still a hard question for us, and we don't have the answer right now.
Okay, I think
because I mean, spinning out an immediate answer is pretty easy. I can just like I'm thinking about a lot of like possible answers, but also at the same time we have to make sure that the economics is solid. I mean, same for Axie, right? There must be a gap. There must be a difference between people using like kind of like free land and people having like
if they get free land, even like that's not even decided.
And there must be some incentive for people to like to cross that kind of gap, for people to like drop from being a free user, for a free player, to like a paid user, like by buying some land or something. So that must be carefully designed. So that's why I don't want to jump directly to an answer, but at least I want to like to communicate clearly about the principle behind having like free Axie or free like land.
I think let's see if we have anything else. I think we're actually at 2 hours now.
It just feels like there's only some questions left, so I think we would just post it.
You want to take everything?
Yeah.
All right. That's answered. We just had these questions actually from Coco. How do you plan to involve the community in ongoing development and growth?
You want to answer it?
I mean, yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think we already touched upon it for tournaments and stuff, and I think we actually answered this question throughout the entire stream when it comes to like giving people who are creating value for the community and for the network itself, to reward them. Of course, like the only way that we can make this a success is if people are like creating content to spread the word of the game, and because we can't do everything alone. So of course we want to incentivize the community by providing rewards, not only to make games, but also to make art streams and everything like that. So did you want to add something there? Or?
In short, we will exploit in quotes you guys as much as possible, but also at the same time we have to stand on our feet, right? We have to do a lot first in order to make it possible for people to evolve. I mean, we cannot rely on you guys. We have to do our homework.
Yeah, it's also about like making tools and like for example, I'll even mention the SDK eventually. So I mean, our goal is obviously to make it so that people can create content and can create games in a meaningful way easily, long term, and that they can actually like we can onboard game developers like that into Lunasia.
From the growth angle, like one thing that I would love to see is for us to deliver to you guys a product that you'd be happy and able to introduce to your non-crypto native friends, right? That's like one thing that we decided like early in the summer. That's like one thing that we're building towards, right? That's our ideal situation where our community can grow organically through word of mouth by you guys, basically the pool of people within your lives that you could introduce our game to expanding rapidly.
Yeah, I can just take some of these questions and then, or let me know if you want to answer any of these specifically. When it comes to like, there is a question about runway, and I think that's very much like company related. So we have our own company, obviously, that's building Axie. We just raised funds. So basically, what I can say is that when you're raising funds in a startup, you usually want to raise for at least like 14 to 18 months of runway with a specific targeted raise. So if we did anything else than that, that would be strange. But like, I'm not going to say the valuation of the company. I'm not going to say the specific runway. I think that would be like could be a disadvantage when we're talking to other.
If we burn more fun than the original plan, of course the runway will be shorter.
Yeah.
And then we have to like, for example, like raise sooner.
Yeah, I think that's also like a little bit on the private side of the company that we don't necessarily have to share or are prepared to share at this stage. I think
your user and growth target and KPIs.
I think you said that briefly that we want like you went into growth. I don't think we have like I don't think we should share. I mean, we can share our KPIs. I mean, we're paying attention to daily active users.
It's still specific.
But I mean, we're paying attention to
that. I think this is pretty like private. I mean, we also don't want other like kind of, I would not say teams, but I don't want like it to be. We don't want it to be public.
But I mean, like people are tracking things like that.
Everything on blockchain should be public,
mm-hmm.
and that's also one way to see it. Targets and KPI is more about the future plan. It's not only about the current numbers, like about the numbers we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we already shared about our like the high level of our like release plan or like growth plan, any product development plan. To do it like with the soft launch, global launch, with the community alpha like going up next.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it should be enough to provide people like some more information.
Yeah, I can see Dragos is here. I think that's actually one of the co-founders of DappRadar. So welcome, good to see you in here too, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see, what type of projects and people do you foresee living in Luna's Landing, and how will these plots be allocated? So this is like basically a bounty type of question as well, or how, what kind of developers, for example, will we reward if they make things to give away Luna's Landing land?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if people have really great projects, then there will be some kind of reward, Luna's Landing plot, land plot included. But right now it's still like too soon for that, and even right now, I mean, I have some clue. I mean, it's not finalized within the team yet, but like me personally, I have some like clue about the standard we required for the best projects. So yeah, I think in the future we would know about this more.
All right, 2 seconds. All right, so on to the next one is.
I'll just go through.
Oh, okay. You want to go through the chat?
No, this one specifically.
Okay. Yeah, Chuck's question.
So for Chuck's questions, why Chuck, Claw, why Kitty, and another one. I mean, we were asked for not mentioning his name, so I mean, I will just drop it. But for Chuck and Cloud, why actually like trivially they are pretty like significant community member, and we have like high hopes in them. But there's still like there has been sometimes they are not like active within the game, so we just want to. I mean, I personally just want to ping them a little bit, like to maybe like come back and check out some cool stuff we have here. So that's why like, and also I want to make it a little bit like more personalized for them. I mean, Chuck is my friend as in some sense. When go like in early days. But I mean, we have to be very clear and separated between like personal relationship and business related things. So, but I can still say that we are friends. We are good friends. So I definitely want to see them come back and check out all the things we have here.
Yeah, I would also just like to say that.
Like a shout out.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes since like we've all been here for so long, maybe things don't go exactly as the expectations are. There were like high expectations or low expectations. Things change, right? But we're still here building, so we will be shipping, and yeah, it would be great to have as many of our community members back once we're ready to ship go to the next stage. So what are the 5 things that the core team believes will be necessary for the game to become more widely known and admired?
So I'm speaking on behalf of the core team. I think the answer is pretty conventional. I mean, they must be it, and there are exactly 5 things to mention. The first one is great gameplay. The second one, beautiful art. The third one it's a little bit different compared to traditional game. It's a thing that more prominent in blockchain games, which is solid economics. For traditional games, if you want the game to live long, then of course you have to care about the economics aspect of the game. But for blockchain game, it's even more crucial. So that's the third one, solid economics. The fourth one is easier onboarding. I could say easy onboarding. It's true for both blockchain games and normal games. You cannot have a lot of new players if when you acquire them somehow, when you attract them somehow, you get them you lure them away by having a bad onboarding process. So that's the fourth thing, easy onboarding. And the last thing is that there must be fresh content and also good game operations. That's a sure thing. That's also related a little bit to one of the questions we have. But I think right now we are pretty stabilized on the team, and we take time to not only stabilize our team, but also to prepare a lot of plan content, take a lot of time to develop some stuff to prepare for the future ahead. So I think we'll do better in that regard.
Yeah, I think also when it comes to operations, Trung briefly mentioned it, the seasonal aspect. I think we've seen some games, even Path of Exile. I'm really fond of the way that they set up their season. Like they provide new content for specific archetypes. If you're a grinder, if you're like you love just exploring that kind of thing, right? It is very attracting. So I definitely like would advise you guys to check that out if you're interested. I guess for the next one, this is that we already shared it.
When will we be able to play the new version of the game? I think we already answered this one.
Mm-hmm.
What are the plans to sell the current unsold Arctic plots?
No.
So,
Uh,
right now we are focusing on development actually, and I think that matter could be decided later. Maybe you guys could have some suggestion you guys want to tell us.
yeah, we're not too concerned about like selling out the Arctic land. I think it's fine the way it is right now too. So how will the team plan to handle abandoned or lost land? I think actually Decentraland has an interesting thing there. I just read about it today briefly that there was a way to reclaim or something if the player hadn't done anything in a long ass time. But I don't think we have a specific thing there unless you have you given it some thought.
It's hard. It's tricky. I mean, I know about that mechanics of Decentraland.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes sense, but I'm not 100% sure about it. So when I thought about it, I decided that when we get back to that thing, we still need to think about it like more.
There are kind of two angles, right? It's like obviously you want to like make sure that you want to incentivize land to be used, but also if land is unclaimed or lost, then that also theoretically adds value to the remaining land. So there are kind of two sides to the equation, and good arguments can be made for both. So it's something that requires a careful analysis.
There are many factors to be optimized for. So I mean, just by doing the same thing as Decentraland, it adds some value, but also like there's a trade-off. So it's not a strictly like better thing.
This is an interesting question from some guy called Lefty. But before I take it, make sure to follow the stream, guys, if you haven't done it already. We will be hosting some cool stuff here in the future on the channel as well. So onto the question, he's asking, what about collectibles packaging used for easy onboarding for the new app? The community needs a tool or guide for onboarding new users. Have you all tried the link drop tool out of SF? So I think
collectibles.
He's just saying that like instead of free Axies, he wants like a team of Axies to be delivered to users. I guess through a gift feature or something.
It's not scalable.
Yeah, I think I haven't actually heard about link drop from out of SF, but I mean, like if we are gonna give away free Axies to everyone who wants to play forever, that would not work particularly well. I think for the new app, if you want to give away some Axies, yeah, sure, we could maybe use something like that, but we already have something planned there. But I don't want to go too much into details about that. So will land items apply to nearby plots? All plots held by the item owner, or only the plot is placed upon? Oh, I remember I spent a lot of time thinking about this.
Depends on the type of land items. Actually, right now that mechanics could be outdated.
Yeah, and I don't think we moved forward with that one. I made like a whole.
That was a waste of time.
Yeah, that was fine.
So the original idea is to, because you have like a smaller grid within each like land plot, it's for like limiting like the stack effect you could have on one Axie team. So right now, like because the game mechanics change a little bit, so I think that's why I said that that mechanics is a little bit outdated, but I mean the principle is still the same, right? We still want to balance the effects of land items, and by applying the effects to nearby blocks, it's pretty powerful.
yeah, area of effect like aura type of spells or like things is yeah, super dangerous, because then you can stack up and multiply, and suddenly if you have your plot in a really good spot, then you get like insane power-ups, right? So it's a little bit scary. Yeah. The question is, will future land sales include the same land items? New ones? None at all?
Definitely not the same land items. That seems weird. But I would not exclude that possibility.
Okay, so you're saying definitely not, but maybe. It could happen.
I mean, my immediate answer is that like
It's unlikely.
It's unlikely. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because right now we have different IDs for land items.
Mhm.
Let's say if you sell like if you sell like a new batch of land plots, and
Mhm.
you give people like not the fresh ID, like all the
old ID for items.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they will get at least new land, but I mean, yeah, I think so. The I guess the right answer is
that's
yeah.
my immediate thought. But I'm not sure if I like if I include all the like possibilities.
Yeah.
I might like.
I give you a maybe attending on this one.
I
Maybe
might give
attending on this one. So how do you define success for the game in 6 months, 2 years, and 5 years? So let's start with 6 months.
There are multiple ways to define success for the game. I would avoid some number or milestone related like kind of like definitions. For 6 months, I would want like it's just very hard to answer this without mentioning like numbers or milestones.
I guess yeah, we can just leave this one.
I think like getting to something that we feel comfortable like trying to scale with, like within 6 months, that might be too soon, but
Yeah, I think we can skip that 6 month.
I think we're aiming for
Milestone.
product market fit, obviously. Like, I think that's the definition of success once we find that. For me, at least.
Actually, like the definition of product market fit is different to different people. Like one could say right now we already have the product market fit.
I mean, within the crypto space, yeah. For
That's what
yeah.
I just thought about
Yeah.
like this after.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2 years, I want the game to be like playable by a lot of traditional players, by traditional gamers. In 5 years, I don't know, it's still too far. But I want us to be successful in setting up a kind of like blockchain-based virtual world, and have people like building like great third-party content on top of it, and we can share the model of like a decentralized game.
All right. And we have some random questions too. I'm not sure if you want to skip the random questions. All right, guys.
I think we have like some more within the channel, but we didn't put in the document.
No, I think we actually this one.
Okay, this one, right? I think this is the only one.
This is the last question, and then we actually took like almost, I don't know, answered questions for almost 2.5 hours. So the question is like, without providing a specific timeline, can you comment on the transition from the passive battle system to the live app? How long will the passive battle system run in the background until there is some other utility for Axies that will allow them to earn something valuable in the game? And what might that utility be? Like Axie recycling, passive land interactions. When the live app comes out, how often will you be able to battle a team cooldown? And therefore, how many teams will be able to actively manage? Can you hint at the value of active play versus passive play?
So from my point of view, my personal point of view, one can efficiently manage, I think, like 50 Axies at once. Just a rough
You're a
estimate.
professional gamer, you're playing all day.
Just a rough estimate. Some like more competitive player could manage more. Uh, I'm not sure about that number 50, but I mean, I'm just like speaking it out loud. I choosing a like logical random number to speak, but yeah, let's say like if one can only efficiently like manage just 50 axes, then of course we want to push people toward that number. Of course, like if you have only that amount of axes, the axis needs to be like more valuable. Uh, of course, you have to prioritize the time, right? You want to focus more time on the axis you prefer. That's just like a very important principle. And also at the same time, the remaining axes, let's say if you have like much more than that, the remaining axes must have to be like managed in like some other ways. It could be like passive XP gain, but this kind of passive gain will not be huge. There could be some kind of delegation involved. Of course, it will gain you more XP than just like than just like putting them into some kind of like passive mechanism. So I could like yeah, that's something I can discuss. Regarding the transition from the passive bottle system to the live app, right now we have a plan already, and actually it's not a plan. We even have a release plan. That means like we are done somehow with the development progress, like at least like a part of it, and it will be released soon.
Yeah.
So we prepare for the transition, and it has to be smooth for people.
Yeah, I think you already like you touched upon it earlier today when you talked about guilds, and like I think the questioner like is BP who is asking this one. Some of our players, they have so many axes, right? So they want to make sure that these axes can be used and that they can like keep grinding and use their assets for something. And it's all about like if you can set up a guild and maybe hire other players to do some work for you, because in the end it's all about like how much work or like value will you be able to provide for the network and the game if you're going to get some rewards. And yeah, you touched upon that as well, like how much if you have one Axie, will that mean 1x reward or 2,000 Axie, 2,000x reward? So
it depends on
yeah,
the impact, right?
exactly. So I think like I would suggest if you just came into the stream, take a look at it. Maybe some guys from the community want to do some benchmarking when we are like answering these questions. That would be great. For now, we're finished. It's actually 11:25 p.m. here in Vietnam. So I guess that's about it for today, unless there is something else. I think we actually did everything, so that's a pretty nice. I think that was
Yeah,
good.
I think this one is left.
Oh,
Is there a possibility? You guys go to Shark Tank.
Igor Carly Gamer, yeah. Hi, dude. Welcome to the stream.
Actually, Shark Tank is a pretty like popular TV program right now in Vietnam. But our model, like our business model, our product model, our company model, is not conventional.
It's
compared
really hard.
to like, especially in Vietnam. So I don't want to spend much time for it because like, if the only things we can gain from attending that program is just like having some free marketing, I mean, it's just not worth it.
No, I know.
Because it's not. I mean, it's not good marketing. It's not even for our targeted audience, and also at the same time we have to prepare a lot of. I mean, we spend a lot of time preparing stuff for the show. So I think it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, from a pitching perspective, like if you're talking to investors and stuff, it's all about how can they understand. Like we choose which kind of investor we want to talk to. So when you're talking about something like Axie, as you mentioned, the model is so new that it's hard for like a traditional investor to necessarily understand how this will be why this will be great. for a lot of normal gamers, they don't really even understand like why is a blockchain game good? Like why do we need blockchain games? So it's like the big hurdle from point A to B. So yeah. All right. So that's it from me. Do you want to say anything before we end the stream?
So,
you too, Jeff?
I think I'm pretty happy today to go through all the questions from you guys. Of course, like we have the chance to talk to you guys, to answer all the questions, to address all of your needs. But also at the same time, when it comes to product development, actually getting people feedback, talking with the users, like especially like in a form of questions and answer like this one, actually help us a lot in terms of prioritizing, like in terms of identifying what we should do first to make like a good product, and not only like a good product, but maybe even like some like or many good products in the future. So yeah, thanks you guys for that.
You want to say something, Jeff?
Yeah, always amazing to hang out with you guys. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing month for us. As we mentioned earlier on the stream, we do plan on having a community alpha for the application live this month. So yeah, send us strength. We're going to be working hard for you guys, and yeah, we can't wait to show it to you.
All right. Let's see.
I have no favorite video from Turkey.
No. Everyone is every video is great, right? That's what I want to say.
I mean, I don't have a specific favorite video.
No, because everything is amazing. Okay, GG guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Oh. What? Let me.